Hi, my name is Scott Gibson with Beneath the Surface. I'm here with Jeb Handwerger of GoldStockTrades.com. Jeb, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Scott, for having me here.
Now, we talked about a couple other metals last time, but what I'd like to focus on this time is uranium and the run-up that we've had in 2014 for uranium and where you see it going.
Oh, it's been phenomenal, this run-up in 2014, and the reason it's been so phenomenal is because the uranium price has been beaten down to an 8-year low following this Fukushima disaster. But what most people don't realize is that there's more nuclear reactors being built today, right now, all over the world, than there was before the once-in-a-millennium disaster that happened in Fukushima and the earthquake and tsunami that occurred there. Demand is rising because it's the best source for clean energy. China and India, I've showed in my presentation earlier today at PDAC, people are suffering with unbelievable smog. They can't. People are there's fatalities in the street because they can't breathe, and they have to rely less on the dirty coal and look to build nuclear reactors. They're building more than 70 right now. That is the area of growth for nuclear. Even in the U.S., for the first time in 30 years, there's new nuclear reactors being built. So there's a lot of increase in demand, but at the same time, there's a real shortfall in supply. The Russian HEU agreement that was supplying over 24 million pounds of uranium to the U.S., that expired at the end of 2013. So there's been this supply shortfall that's going to need to be made up by domestic U.S. producers. Now remember, 55 million pounds of uranium is used every year in the United States at 104 nuclear reactors right now. Yet there's less than 5 million pounds being produced domestically here.
Great.
So that we're going to see that big increase of domestic productions. One of the stories that you should keep a close eye on is a stock that I'm a shareholder of and that is a sponsor on my website, is Uranium Energy, which is the symbol URZ, or URZ for the American viewers.
I own that one as well.
Yes. And they announced a $20 million loan with the state of Wyoming. Wyoming's one of the few states that has a surplus. And they've given Uraners a lower cost loan that's going to help them be fully funded for construction, and they should be, by the end of the first quarter, beginning to produce yellowcake. Now remember, they have a processing agreement with Cameco, which is the largest publicly traded uranium miner, and they have offtake agreements that they did when uranium was much higher with two of the largest U.S. Utilities. So once this starts getting into production, which should come soon, within the first quarter, I think that there's going to be a big increase of interest because now they'll be able to generate cash flow and revenue, which is, which is great for a junior uranium miner.
And what's your take on the uranium price? It hasn't really moved too much yet.
Yeah, well, the spot price is always a laggard. That's why you're seeing the uranium miners tick up. I believe sooner rather than later, the spot price is going to start catching up, and we're going to have a break through the $40 area. And there's big institutions such as JP Morgan that's predicting much higher prices in 2016 and 2017. And right now, investors can look to invest if they're looking just for the uranium commodity. Playing that, the best proxy for that is the Uranium Participation Corp, which is traded as U on the Toronto Stock Exchange. So investors can look, if they want to look at a proxy for the uranium price, they can use the Uranium Participation Corp, but it is at 8-year lows, and remember it was $135 back in 2007 when they had the Cigar Lake delay. Now Cameco announced that Cigar Lake is still continuing to be delayed. Plus we're hearing stories of other mines from major uranium companies that are either being mothballed or are cutting back on production because of the low uranium price. And this sort of sets up for the next spike. When all these miners cut back, it sets up for a supply shortfall.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for your take on uranium. Really appreciate it. Looks like we're setting up for another run.
Well, thank you, Scott, for having me here today.
Again, that's Scott Gibson with Beneath the Surface. Thanks for being with us.